Okay, so Florida are not responsible to explain to every person they question it that they should have a lawyer, or if they give them a paper and their responsibility to read and sign it, and if they have any language problem, the police kick no and they give them a translator. You know what I mean?
And like even if they didn't understand the question, they have the right to ask the police for further clarity. It says here in the paper that Powell agreed to talk to the officers and signed a form waiving his Miranda rights, and stating that he would talk without an attorney present. That implies that he waived his rights to speak to an attorney during questioning. So he knew that he wouldn't be getting an attorney during the questioning, and he still waived that right away. So why are they now arguing that he wasn't aware of the right? Because he explicitly stated that he wouldn't talk with an attorney present. He waived his rights away, fully knowing what he was going into yet again. And Florida, the states aren't required to say the Miranda rights in a specific way. They have their own interpretation of it. Everyone should be aware of the Miranda rights. It's not up to the government to tell you what your rights are every single day. You should be aware of what you're getting into, especially if you're a citizen of the United States. I would assume he probably was. Do you know if he was? Okay, well, but he said his felonies.
Oh, and like they said before that he didn't have a lawyer during the questioning. In the waiver, it does say that they can get a lawyer during any time of the question.
So he signed away his rights, stating that he could have a lawyer present during any time throughout the questioning.
The waiver says.
Okay. Is there a precedent case that supports your case? Huh? 10 minutes.
Okay, so in Ducksworth versus Egan, something similar happened, and the U.S. Supreme Court approved the warnings, ruling that together they reasonably conveyed the right to have appointed counsel during questioning. So that again confirms my statement that there's no specific way that they have to state the Miranda rights. As long as they convey what your rights are, it's fine. And in that case, the Supreme Court ruled for the state. So this is basically the same thing as Florida versus Powell. How is this any different than what happened here, and why should the Supreme Court have to suddenly change their rulings?
Time. All right. Thank you very much. Does the respondent need a recess, a brief recess? All right.
Okay. What if he was peer pressured by the cops? Being that he already have other felonies and other stuff against him, what if they peer pressured him into just doing it without an attorney and saying that if he gets sentenced, it'll be a lesser sentence? And what if they would have manipulated him into not having an attorney?
To continue on with that, as a black woman in this society, I know from a child that my mom told me that if I was to ever be arrested and detained, to not say a word, to wait for a lawyer, wait for her, wait to anybody I trust to come. And in that state of mind, if I was to be arrested, I would not be in a mental state, thinking mentally and stably to put my life where it needs to be put in the hands of anybody else other than my own. And because I'm not in a mental state of mind, I'm taking this from Powell as he is frightened, he is scared, he's in custody, he is not thinking right, he's overwhelmed, and he's not in a mental state where he was able to appropriately determine what he was reading or what was told to him to the extent where he could process what was going on officially, so that he would understand what was going on. And later on, this is why we are making this appeal, so that we can lower his sentence, whether he is guilty or not of the actions that he was accused of, because he later realized that what had happened to him was not right, because he needed a time to sit there and digress on what had happened to him. And now that he's sitting the sentence, he thinks it's unfair. Whether he pled guilty or not guilty, Maybe he could have pled guilty if he was given the right circumstances as to the rights of his Amanda right that were violated by the people who took custody of him.
And is this based on an evaluation, like a psychological evaluation at the time? Was there any evaluation done of his mental health during that period? If not, is this just like your own personal inferences based on the situation?
Right here,
So do you know his medical history?
Even if his medical history is not like included
You're
in the
not
case,
saying that he's a
if he
mentally
never brought,
stable
if he never asked for an evaluation to show that he was unfit at the time to make that decision to waive away those rights, then it cannot be brought to court right now.
I would say a precedent case that previously happened was the Miranda versus Arizona 1966 case, which had to do with Ernesto Miranda, who was arrested for kidnapping and rape. And after two hours of questioning by the police, that Miranda, he confessed to his crimes, but the Miranda appealed his conviction, arguing that his confession should have been excluded from the trial because he did not have an attorney during his interview, which also supports our reasoning on why we feel like Powell should be sentenced to a lower time, because he also didn't have anybody to support him. And Councilman say?
He had nobody to support him, so we don't know what was actually said in the office when he was in there with all these police officers. They was asking him a whole bunch of questions. He probably was overwhelmed and overpowered. It was him, and we don't know how many officers was in there.
But it could have been him and an attorney had he chosen to meet with one before his interrogation.
Had he told them
Before,
if he
you
was
said
before.
it, you said it, you said it.
Oh,
You just said it, before, before.
interrogation.
Oh, you just said it, you just said it. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before answering any of the questions.
Yes.
So he was supposed to
And
talk to him
she's saying
before.
before he
You,
signed
he was,
it.
when he
He
was,
signed away those
but
rights.
they said, they specifically said, they
They
specifically said.
contradicted their actions.
They contradicted. How are you gonna say, how are you gonna say that? They said, you have the right to talk to a lawyer before the questioning, but then in the paper, it says you have the right to talk to him throughout. So how is he supposed to know what he can do? These cops are telling him, these cops are telling him, you can talk to him before, but then the paper's saying, you can talk to him throughout. So how is he supposed to know? Like, what can I do? I'm overwhelmed. I've been here answering questions. Like,
I'm gonna call time. We gotta do this. I'm so sorry. I want now, are there any final statements? I will give you 1 minute on each side to make a final statement, then the justices have to confer. I'll give you 2 minutes to confer, and then give your judgment. All of you must cast your vote. The justices. Can you join them and cast your vote? I know, but just, I know. You were here for the first part.
And then I'm gonna need an attorney and a lawyer. Yeah.